The old human soldier sat alone in the dusty outpost. The sun of this alien planet was blue and harsh. Nothing moved outside except broken metal flags and sand. His name was Reed Carter, once a warrior, now just a repairman. He fixed broken drones, rusty doors, and dead heaters. No one spoke much here. No one laughed until she came. Her name was Elira, skin like silver mist, eyes glowing softly like moons. She always brought him food, quiet, never smiling. She would lower her head and leave without a word. One day, Reed decided to joke. "You know," he said with a grin, "for a kiss, I'd conquer this whole planet for you." She froze. Her hands shook. The tray dropped. Reed laughed lightly. "Hey, I was just joking," but she wasn't laughing. She stepped back, staring at him in shock. Her lips parted, but no sound came. Then her hair caught fire, not normal fire. It glowed blue, bright and hot, but it didn't burn her skin. It rose like a crown around her face. The metal walls hummed. Outside, birds flew away in panic. Other aliens nearby dropped to one knee, eyes wide in fear. Reed stood, confused. "What's happening?" Elira whispered something in her own language. Then she ran her feet, moving so fast they barely touched the ground. She left behind a small metal pendant. He picked it up. It was warm. Strange symbols glowed on it, pulsing like a heartbeat. That night, Reed didn't sleep. He watched the pendant. It kept pulsing, like it knew him, like it was waiting. At midnight, someone kicked his door open. Boom! 4 armored aliens stormed in. They didn't speak. They grabbed his arms, bound him with glowing wires, and dragged him out into the cold. He shouted, "What did I do? I didn't mean anything. It was a joke." They didn't answer. One of them stared at him with fear. Not anger, fear. They took him deep underground, past thick stone walls and glowing blue lights. He was brought into a room filled with high chairs and silent faces. Nobles, priests, guards. At the center stood Elira, but she looked different. Her robe was black and gold. Her hair still glowed blue. Her eyes calm but powerful. "She has spoken the claim," said one of the priests. "And you accepted?" "What claim?" Reed shouted. "I didn't accept anything." "You offered a kiss and promised conquest," the priest continued. "The Fire Queen has awakened. And now the warrior must rise." Reed turned to Elira. I didn't know she looked at him. Sad, beautiful, afraid. "You don't understand," she said softly. "You woke the fire in me. No one ever could. They all burned, but you didn't." Reed's heart raced. He was just a soldier. A man who wanted peace. Now, everyone looked at him like he was a king, or a weapon. The priest raised his hand. "You will face the trial of fire. If you survive, this world will kneel to your bond." Reed shook his head. "I didn't ask for this," Elira whispered. "Neither did I." Behind them, flames rose without smoke. The pendant in his pocket burned hotter. The joke was over. The war had begun. Reed Carter stood inside a chamber made of black stone. Fire danced on the walls without smoke. Shadows of strange creatures moved behind glowing screens. It felt like a temple. Or a trap. The chains around his wrists pulsed with light. He was not free. But everyone stared at him like he was something powerful. Elia stood across from him. Her blue fire hair floated in the air like soft waves. She didn't speak, but her eyes never left his. A high priest stepped forward. His face was covered by a silver mask. His voice echoed like thunder. "You hold the pendant of the forgotten flame. Only a chosen can carry it without burning." "I don't want it," Reed said. "I just made a joke." The priest raised one finger. "The Fire Queen has responded. Her flame rose for you. That means fate has been awakened." Reed looked at Elira. What does that mean? She finally spoke, her voice soft and heavy. When a queen's fire chooses someone, it becomes a bond, a vow. Reed stepped back. But I didn't choose this. You kissed with words, the priest growled. That is ancient law. I was joking, Reed shouted. It wasn't real. But the room started to shake. A soft hum filled the air. The pendant in his pocket glowed brighter. Then the fire on the walls moved toward him. The blue flames crawled across the floor like snakes. Everyone stepped back. Even the guards. Illyra gasped. The fire, speaking your name. What name? He asked. She whispered Reed in. Reed frowned. That's not my name. It is now, said the priest. It means flame-bound. A second priest stepped forward and dropped a scroll in front of Reed. On it were drawings. A human warrior with blue fire behind him, standing beside a queen. The story was old, but the picture looked just like him. I don't understand this, Reed said. I'm not a hero. Illyra looked down. Neither was I ever meant to be a queen. Suddenly, alarms blared outside the chamber. Red lights flashed. A soldier ran in. The warlord has arrived, he shouted. He demands the girl be destroyed. Says she's a threat again. The priests argued. Some shouted to protect the girl. Others shouted to end the curse before it spread. Reed was confused. What's going on? Illyra turned to him, her eyes glowing. I was born cursed. My fire was locked away. They said I'd burn the world. They caged me for years. But your words unlocked it. Reed took a step closer. Then we run. We get out of here. She shook her head. I can't leave. If I run, the people will die. They fear my flame, but they need a symbol. Someone to lead. And now they think. It's you. The doors burst open. Soldiers in black armor stormed in. Their weapons pointed at Illyra. One priest shouted, The Fire Queen must pass the trial. It is law. Another screamed, End this before the fire spreads. Reed's chest burned. Not with fire, but with choice. He pulled the pendant out. It floated into the air by itself. Blue flames rose. The guards froze. The pendant spun once, then flew toward Illyra, resting on her chest. She gasped. The fire in her hair turned white-blue. Her voice shook. Your flame. Chose me? No, Reed said, stepping forward. Our flame chose each other. The soldiers lowered their weapons. The room fell quiet. But outside, war drums began to beat. Someone didn't like what just happened. And they were coming. Reed Carter stood on a stone platform high above the ground. Below him, the arena waited wide, dark and full of bones. The crowd chanted his new name, Reedon, Reedon. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a man trapped inside someone else's story. Beside him, Illyra stood silent, her blue fire flickering gently. She wore a new robe, black with glowing silver threads. Her pendant pulsed like a heartbeat. She looked at him. You don't have to do this. Reed shook his head. If I don't, they'll burn you. Or worse. Below them, the gate to the arena groaned open. Chains rattled. Steam hissed. The priest's voice echoed across the arena. Let the trial of bones begin. The Fire Queen has chosen. Now the warrior must prove he can survive her flame. Reed was lowered into the pit. His boots crunched over crushed bones. Skulls, claws, strange alien teeth. The crowd roared above. He looked around. It was quiet. Too quiet. Then a soft growl came from the shadows. Something big was moving. Suddenly, a creature leaped from the darkness. It had 4 arms, a tail like a whip, and metal plates growing from its skin. Reed rolled aside just in time. The ground cracked under its weight. He didn't have a sword, no gun, just his mind and 2 fists. Come on then, he muttered. Let's see what you've got." The beast attacked. Reed dodged, slid under it, grabbed a sharp bone from the ground, and stabbed it in the leg. The creature roared and swung its tail. It slammed into Reed's chest, sending him flying into a wall. Pain shot through his ribs. He coughed blood. Above, Illyra gasped. Her hand touched the pendant. Suddenly, her fire flared. And from far across the arena, Reed's pendant lit up too. The flames danced across his skin but didn't burn him. Instead, they wrapped around his arms like armor. His pain faded. He stood, eyes glowing, chest rising. Something had awakened inside him. The creature charged again. This time, Reed didn't dodge. He ran toward it. He slid beneath its body, jammed a sharp bone into its joint, climbed onto its back, and slammed his fists, now glowing with fire, into its neck. The creature shrieked, shook, then fell to the ground, dead. Silence, then cheering. The crowd screamed his name. Some bowed, others dropped their weapons in awe. Illyra cried silently. The fire in her hair turned gold for a moment, then returned to blue. The priest declared, "The warrior has passed. The bond is real. The queen and her flame are one." Reed climbed out of the pit. Illyra walked to him, trembling. "I don't understand what you are," she whispered. He smiled, tired. "I don't either." From the shadows above, a cold voice echoed. "Then let me explain it to both of you." A man stepped out, armor black as night. A warlord, Illyra's cousin. He pointed a sword at Reed. "She was born to die," the man said. "And you were never meant to live past today. But now you've given the people hope. That's dangerous." Illyra stepped forward. "I will not let you touch him." The warlord laughed. "If you've already burned cities by accident, cousin, will you now burn your own blood?" The pendant glowed again. Reed's hands lit with fire. "Try me," he said. The fire around them rose again. And the real war had just begun. After the arena fight, Reed was taken to the Queen's Tower. Not in chains, not in fear, but as someone the people now whispered about. The Fire Queen's warrior. He didn't burn. His heart might be fireproof. The halls were quiet. Tall walls made of black glass showed the burning sky. The planet's two suns hung low. Reed walked beside Illyra. Neither of them spoke for a while. Her hair still glowed faintly blue, but soft now. Almost like moonlight. They entered a small chamber. No guards, no fire. Just silence. Illyra sat on the edge of a metal bed. She looked down at her hands. "I was 5 years old," she said slowly. "When my fire first woke up." Reed listened. He didn't interrupt. "I burned a tree, then a hut, then ... My mother's skin." Her voice cracked. "After that, they locked my powers, caged my heart. I grew up alone. No hugs, no laughter. No love, because if I loved too much, I burned." She looked at him now, eyes full of pain. "But when you spoke to me, ... when you joked about a kiss, something inside me cracked. And for the first time, the fire didn't hurt." Reed sat beside her. "I'm not special. I'm just a man who made a bad joke." She smiled weakly. "Maybe. But now they call you Reedon. The flame bonded, and I feel safe when you're near." She reached for his hand. Reed let her take it. No flames rose. Her hand was warm, soft. Human tears welled in her eyes. "Why don't you burn?" Reed shrugged. "Maybe because I'm already burned on the inside." She looked at him, surprised. "My team died years ago," he explained. "Bad command. Bad call. I was the only one who came back. Since then, I've just been drifting, fixing things, avoiding people." They sat in silence. Two broken souls with fire between them. Suddenly, a sharp noise broke the moment. A crystal shattered against the wall. The door swung open. It was Alira's cousin, General Varric. His black armor shimmered with red lights. "I warned you," he said coldly. "This ... thing is changing you. He is the crack in the dam. If you do not stop it, the people will drown in chaos." Alira stood. "The people are already drowning, Varric. In fear, in silence, in chains. He is human." Varric shouted, "A stranger. He cannot carry fire." "He already has," she said. Varric pointed a blade at Reed. "Then let him carry it into exile, or into death, but not into the throne." Her fire sparked. "Touch him, and I will burn this tower down." Varric hesitated. "So this is your answer?" A weak soldier with a spark in his chest. "No," Alira said firmly. "He's not weak. He's the only one who didn't run when I lit the sky." Varric turned and left, but not before saying, "Then you've chosen war." As the door shut, Alira slumped. Reed caught her. "I can't be queen," she whispered. "Not like this." Reed gently lifted her chin. "Then don't be a queen. Be something new. Be the fire that saves, not destroys." She stared at him, eyes wide. Then, slowly, she kissed him. For a second, Reed felt warmth. Then, nothing. No fire, no pain. Just peace. Outside, a bell rang. The people had seen the kiss. And now, they were waiting for a ruler who burned with love, not fear. The next morning, the sky looked different. 2 suns rose slower than usual. The clouds moved like waves. And across the palace walls, a painting had appeared. Not painted by hands, but by fire. A man and a woman, locked in a kiss. Surrounded by blue flame, the people called it a sign. The prophecy was alive. The Fire Queen had chosen her bond. And the flame-bonded warrior had kissed her back. In the streets, whispers turned to songs. In the mountains, old rebels lit fires again. In the slums, children danced with torches. Hope was burning. But inside the throne tower, danger was growing. General Varric slammed his fist on the war table. "The kiss was public," he growled. "The people saw it. They believe it. If we don't act now, the throne will belong to that human." One of his commanders spoke up, but the Queen's fire accepted him. "That hasn't happened in thousands of years." Varric glared. "It's a trick, a human lie. The fire can be fooled. He must be removed." Reed and Alira sat on the edge of the tower, looking over the glowing city. She leaned her head on his shoulder. "I never thought anyone would kiss me," she said softly. He smiled. "I never thought a kiss could start a revolution." But then, boom. An explosion rocked the tower. Stone cracked. Alarms screamed. Guards stormed in. But they didn't protect the Queen. They aimed their weapons at her. "What are you doing?" Reed shouted. One guard answered, "By order of the council. The Queen is to be arrested for inciting rebellion through illegal bonding." Alira's eyes went wide. It was just a kiss. Reed stepped in front of her. "You'll have to go through me." They fired. Reed raised his arms, expecting death. But the pendant on Alira's neck exploded in light. The flames jumped from her chest to his skin, covering him in a shield of blue fire. The shots burned away before they touched him. He ran forward, grabbed a spear, and slammed it into the ground. The flames followed the metal, bursting upward like a wall. "Run!" he shouted. Alira hesitated, her hands lit with fire. "I'm not leaving you." Reed nodded. "Then we run together." They jumped from the tower's edge straight into a water canal below. Cold, fast, dark, but alive. They swam under the city, through secret tunnels once used by rebels. By the time they reached the surface again, the city was on edge. Holograms appeared in the sky, showing Varric speaking. "The Queen has been captured. The human is a threat." All citizens must report signs of fire or flame activity. The bond is broken. Return to order. But the people didn't believe him, because above the tallest hill, flames danced in the shape of the queen's pendant. A signal, a message. She was still alive, and she was not hiding. In the ruins of an old rebel temple, Reed and Alira stood before a crowd of outcasts, forgotten warriors, and alien children. Reed raised his hand. I didn't come to lead a fight, but if loving her means war, then I won't back down. Alira stepped beside him. For years, they called me cursed, but now I burn for something real. Not power, not revenge. But for us, the flames behind them rose higher, and across the stars, ships began to move. Because the kiss was no longer just a moment. It had become a spark, and that spark had set the world on fire. The mountains burned blue that night, not from war but from awakening. In the old rebel temple, Reed Carter stood before a crowd of warriors, healers, and runaways. The pendant on Alira's chest glowed steady. His hands, when clenched, flickered with blue flame. No one had ever seen a human wear fire-like skin, and no one had ever seen a queen smile in the middle of war. Alira walked beside him, her steps slow but strong. They will come soon, she said. With ships, with lies. With chains. Reed nodded. Then we break their chains. News of their survival had already reached the capital. General Varric's face was red with rage. The human must be killed. He roared in the council hall. The queen must be erased. One noble hesitated. The people chant her name. They light fire symbols in the sky. The more we push, the stronger they grow. Varric slammed the table. Then we strike before dawn. As darkness fell, Reed stood outside the temple alone. He looked up at the stars. His mind returned to earth, to silence, to loneliness, to regret. He thought of his old team. All gone, and then he heard footsteps. Alira stood beside him, her fire soft and glowing. You don't have to stay, she said. I know, Reed whispered. But I've never felt more alive than when I'm with you. She placed her hand on his chest. Her fire didn't burn. It pulsed gently. You are more than human now, she said. You carry a flame meant for gods. Reed closed his eyes. Then let's give the gods something to fear. Before sunrise, the attack came. Varric's ships roared above the temple, dropping black-armored soldiers. The ground shook, blades clashed. Screams echoed. Reed led from the front. Flames danced along his arms. He punched through metal. His fire bent around him like armor, responding to thought, to emotion, to need. He moved like a storm. Like a man who had become something more. Protect the queen. The rebels shouted. Alira fought beside him. Her fire was faster now, her control stronger. She no longer feared the flames. She directed them like wings. Together, they stood on the stairs of the temple, back to back, fire swirling around them. But then, a blast hit Alira from behind. She screamed. The fire on her body flickered. Reed turned too late. Varric stepped out from the shadows. His sword was coated in black oil, anti-fire serum. Reed ran to Alira's side, held her close. Her breathing was weak. Her flames nearly gone. Varric raised his sword again. The flame ends tonight. Reed stood slowly, his eyes glowing like twin stars. I told you before, he said, voice steady. Try me. Varric lunged. Reed caught the blade with his bare hand. It didn't cut him. It melted. Reed's fire turned white-blue, pure, blinding. The soldiers backed away. Even the mountain shook. He didn't roar. He didn't rage. He simply walked forward, and Varric fell to his knees. The flame had accepted its true master. Reed Carter, once a broken man, now a living fire. He lifted Alira in his arms. She opened her eyes. "You're glowing," she whispered. "I think I became the spark." He smiled. Around them, the battlefield fell silent. Soldiers dropped weapons. Rebels raised flags. The Fire Queen had survived. And her warrior had become a legend.